Oh, we're live, boys. Welcome, America, to the Eric and Rodney Show with Robin. It's the first time that we've all been on screen together in 2 weeks. The national tragedy is over because we're back. Welcome to the best hour of your day, assuming your day is, mediocre at best. Today we have a very special guest, Dave Reid. Look how jacked this guy is.
Dave. Yeah. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dave does not work out.
I'm not sure that's true. I couldn't lift the printer behind him, but he looks like he knows what he's doing.
You know what's funny about printers? I just want to point out one thing that I was observed is either they're extremely heavy or they don't work.
Yeah.
Right? You ever get those flimsy ones, the tiny ones, and it's like, it prints like one page and it's like, this thing's done. It's so goodbye.
I'm glad we brought up printers. I don't like lifting printers because the weight is unevenly distributed. You never know how, because it's like a fucking refrigerator. It's always way heavier on one side. That's why I don't like picking up dogs too. The weight is unevenly. Cats, it's one weight across the board. Dogs, very uneven. Just another reason I fucking hate dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else on the uneven distribution weight of printing equipment or animals?
I like how you're able to plug that you hate dogs in like almost every episode. You always find a way.
It's a running shtick. Yeah, I know.
What about Hefe? He's a sweet boy. My angel boy Hefe.
I like how much you like your dog. It entertains me.
I think, you know what I think it is? I think Eric likes him from afar.
I like him from afar. Yeah.
That's like what my mom used to say. She would be like, I love those children from afar.
Exactly. Like everybody loves the beach. I like sitting on a deck and drinking and looking at the ocean. I don't want to be anywhere near the ocean. I don't like sand. I'm very Irish. The sun burns me. I get moon burns. So fuck that.
Yeah. You know what's funny is people used to say all the time, I don't understand because I'm on Long Island, but I don't understand why in the world these people are building a pool. They have the ocean right there. They're not going to swim in that. Something might touch their leg.
Yeah. That's where the fish shit. And also sharks.
I need to see the bottom of whatever I'm getting into.
Yeah, I don't want it to be.
I don't want to see it. If there's seaweed, like if something touches me, I'm out. God bless.
Yeah. No one's ever been eaten in a hot tub. Well, not that way anyway. Know what I'm saying?
All right now.
Oh shit, it's the Eric and
Monday morning, boys.
That's right. We're all back. The gang's all here. All right, listen, before we get into the Dave Reid section of the show, we have to cover the news because America demands our opinions on such things. Robin, my friend, what is in the news?
I know Rodney is probably a big fan of this guy. So there's these ruins of this private theater that used to belong to a first century Roman emperor. His name was Emperor Nero. And surprisingly, they just unearthed a few meters away from the Vatican the exact venue where Nero would rehearse poetry and music. So it was mentioned in many texts, but up until now, it was never found. It's quite cool that you could probably be walking by a place every day not knowing that was once part of something that had really huge historical significance.
Nero was a handsome guy.
Nero was a gorgeous man. Look at him.
You could say you have something on your third chin.
I will say this about Nero. I don't give a fuck that they found his dining hall. But do you know how evil this guy is? Have you looked into
psychopath? Yeah.
He's a giant piece of shit. He makes Marjorie Taylor Greene and Trump look like JFK and Obama. Like this guy's an awful human being.
All right.
Just real quick. So he became emperor at 17 after his stepbrother was supposed to get the throne. A day before he's old enough, he dies mysteriously because he drank some wine at a party that Nero threw. All right.
Was Marcus Aurelius his father?
No, some other goofball.
Okay.
So his mother poisoned 2 husbands to get into power. And then as soon as Nero gets into power, he murders his mother. He sent her on a vacation on a boat meant to sink. She swam to shore, so then he paid an ex-slave to murder her. He killed 2 of his wives. The second wife was pregnant, and he stomped her to death because she was bitching about him spending too much time at the races. Huh? Too much horse races, you get to stomp your wife to death. And he also married a castrated former slave because he looked like the wife that he stomped to death. So, like, why? You know what I mean? Why are we running? We think our political leaders now are bad, but holy fucking shit!
Now, here's the thing: was he a Democrat or a Republican?
According to the comment section on Fox,
or a libertarian.
He's a liberal. He's very liberal. Yeah. Loved Obama. Big into trans issues. Yeah, it's bad.
It's very sad that we lost our traditions and our norms and values.
Yeah, no shit. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
so
Nero's
bad
got
now.
everything
It's
going.
bad now. Shut the fuck. Have you heard Nero? Come on, guys.
Yeah, I think Nero was up there with Caligula, right? They were in a
Oh,
tight race to be the worst.
Oh, and he also persecuted Christians, but he did it in hilarious ways. Like he wouldn't just murder them; he dressed them up like animals and then have dogs rip them apart. Like he was a creative. You know what I mean? Some people just firing squad. Not Nero. He got cute with it. That's what I like.
Creative. Yeah.
He
He inspired us to be to push the boundaries.
He did. So his first wife he banished and then decided that he wanted her dead. So he didn't really quite believe that she was dead, so he demanded her head. He was like, I know you say she's dead, but I'm going to need her head in a box just to prove it. And he got it. So. Robin, did you think this is where this story was going?
No.
When you reported
definitely not. But like, I mean, you have to be either really good or quite fucking terrible to be remembered 2,000 years later. So.
It really is.
Well, yeah, that's like like Hitler was so bad he retired the name Adolf. Like I'm sure Adolf was like John in Germany, and they were like, oh shit, he ruined that name forever. I think Nero, like you don't see a lot of Neros these days either.
That's true.
No, I don't know any Neros.
No, because he retired the name. Not bad.
Yeah, he was a real piece of work. You don't see many Caligulas either.
No, although his parties seem fucking unbelievable. Yeah.
So if I had a nightclub, I would call it Caligula's. Then we know it's going to be. I don't even need to tell you what's going on inside because you already know. Get on inside.
Eric and Rodney present Caligula with Robin.
With Robin.
it's just a ladyboy orgy. It's going to be great. Did you want to move on from Nero? I already blew my load. This is all I got on the guy, unless anybody else has any opinions on him.
No, this was quite good.
See the kind of research I do for this show?
Yep.
On a Monday morning.
This wild. The next one is also kind of wild, and it's taking us to the bath as well. So there were some quite wild times in 1675. Apparently, you could own an exotic fruit, and you'd instantly be called a man of stature. So this CNN edition says it's like the equivalent of eating a Gucci handbag. I don't know who made that analogy, but it's pretty stupid. So it's a gift that's even suitable for royalty. Having this fruit during 1675 in Great Britain was a symbol of unsurmountable wealth and would instantly get you laid.
Yeah. Get you laid more than that, Betty boy. Do you know what about
these two men?
Take a guess on what this fruit is.
Wait, hold on. Is one of these people a woman? I hope. No. What's going on here?
No.
It literally looks like they're twins.
This dainty fella to the right is King Charles II, and he's being presented with a pineapple from his gardener. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a shitty present for a king. Oh, no, you would be very wrong. A pineapple, during whatever fucking year this is, cost $15,000 to grow. That's the equivalent of a stagecoach with horses. So it was a big deal.
Wow. It seems kind of small. The one I have in my kitchen is much larger. And I don't think I hope it wasn't 15,000. I'm praying not.
Can you just imagine, though, the first dude to eat a pineapple? Like you're just fucking roaming around, like searching for, I don't know, pigeons or some shit, and you stumble across a pineapple. That must have been unbelievable. They're so goddamn good.
Yeah, I know. The other thing I don't understand either, though, is that was Gucci around in 1675?
To make that comparison? No.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Interesting.
No. Pineapples were so expensive that people used to rent them for a couple hours. Like if you were going to have a party, you'd rent a pineapple. They didn't even eat them because who would eat something that cost 15 grand? They just let them rot. But if you were going to have a party, that'd be the big deal. You put a pineapple in the middle of the table and everybody's like, holy shit, you got money.
Just imagine this, right? Imagine that you were rich, right? And you started a pineapple rental business. And these pineapples are dying before your very eyes. Yeah. What do? Do you have if something I had was 15K and it was dying, I would be like, get the doctors in here. Where's Michael Jackson's team at? We need you.
Can you imagine going back then and telling them in the future there will be pineapple flavored sexual lubricant? Like it is going to be it's going to be pineapple chapstick. And they'll be like, what the fuck is chapstick? And they'll wait, just you wait. The olden days were crazy, Robin. I guess that's my point. The other thing that fascinates me, hold on. So they worship pineapples to the point of obscurity, to the point where they would like make architecture shaped like pineapples. Now an upside down pineapple is a symbol that you're in the swinging community. Did you know that?
Really?
I did not know that, but thank you for mentioning.
didn't know that? Yeah. If you're here you go. You go around white suburbia, and there'll be flags that have an upside down pineapple, and it means they're
Oh
swinging.
wait, shit, Rodney, didn't you mention this about like cruises?
I did, yeah.
Code name was
The
pineapples, right?
That's right. But here's the question, though, right? Is that so? If you see somebody's flag, do you just go in and say, knock on the door and say, "I'm here for the gangbang," or how does that?
Sure how that
what's
works.
the protocol?
I'm fascinated by this though, because my son was in kindergarten this past year, and there was a car in front of me with an upside, those like stick figure things.
Yes.
It was in that same vein, but it was an upside down pineapple. So this so you're signaling to the great, like that's on your house. I mean, that's in your car. You're driving around. People in Walmart know that you're a swinger. But to your point, like, how did I see that? Do I knock on your window and go, do you want to go? I'm into it.
You're like, I've got 15 minutes.
Right.
What do you say, sweets?
Your sticker indicates that you're down to.
I recently saw an interesting bumper sticker, or actually it was on a. You know how on the SUVs it has the glass or whatever, right? I don't even say it's a bumper, but it was on the glass.
Yeah.
And it was a woman, I think 2 or 3 kids, a dog, and a cat, and it had a open position for the papa.
Oh, did you knock on the door?
No. I said, unfortunately, I've got my hands full with Hefe and my beautiful wife.
Oh, that's sweet. That's very.
But
nice.
I thought it was funny because I wanted to say, like, perhaps you should put a QR code on there
so you can go
for
to
applications.
Yeah, no, that's smart.
I also saw a bumper sticker where someone said they were celebrating their wedding, and it was a Venmo QR code on the back of a car saying if you wanted to donate to it.
Now, why would I do that? I know you're not justifying it, but that seems.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either. I was going to say to myself, this makes no sense, but I kind of like it.
On pineapples,
David,
go ahead.
How many calories is in one pineapple? Is it bodybuilding friendly?
That was an odd segue, but yeah, let's get
That's
a good question.
I don't eat them. Like I would never eat one when I was dieting. I mean, we don't eat a lot of fruit in general, but it's got good things like bromelain in it, for digestion. But other than that,
fruit has a lot of sugar in it, right? It spikes the glycemic, right?
Fructose is like tricky, right? Because it's not like a 6 carbon sugar. Fructose is a 5 carbon sugar, so your body has to convert it in the liver to be useful. So if you occupy your liver too much with converting sugars, then you don't burn fat very well because you need the liver to burn fat, right? So
I see.
This is why I'm never going to be jacked. Like, we were just talking off camera. You're supposed to eat a gram of protein per pound of body weight. I drink an ounce of bourbon per pound of body weight. And like, if at no point in my life would I go, no, I can't eat pineapple. I'm trying to get jacked. Like, what the fuck? These rules seem. I can understand not eating a Snickers, right, or not having a pint of Ben and Jerry's. Like, I can't have fruit salad. My liver.
You know what? Dave, tell me if this is right or wrong. Right? I don't think it's that you can't. I think it prohibits. It hinders from your progression. Is that right?
Which means I can't.
It depends on what what your goal is, right? I mean, when you're doing what I was doing, you're getting down to like on a DEXA scan, I was like 6% body fat, which is like that's like probably 2% on another type of a test. Like you have nothing left on your body. I mean, it's like it's to the point where you're just shutting down. It's dangerous. But you can't eat. You have to be very selective about what you're putting in your. Like, do you digest it well? I mean, it's tricky stuff. It's insane, really, when you get.
Doesn't that drive you crazy? Right. Like, I know we're going to talk about this more later, but you have to consider everything you eat, whereas I consider nothing I eat. I think we're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
Could be.
Oh, it is.
I gotta be honest. I log almost everything I eat. I'm like fanatical with it. I'm not in Dave's shape, but I don't know why I do that. I log everything. I have my sleep log, everything, my activities, my calories, and I don't even trust just the Apple Watch. I went with the Whoop.
You got a Whoop?
Yeah, I got to know everything. I analyze the data, what's going on. I know my breathing rates, my resting heart rate. I have no idea what I do with any of this data. I just need to know it.
What's your resting?
What's that?
What's your resting metabolic? Like your heart rate?
47.
That's good.
It's good. I want it to be like in 20. I'm joking.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
All right, listen, we're going to get to the bodybuilding aspect. Let's cover the news. Let's get this.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
About the news.
Right.
What's next?
Wait, I'm not sure, Eric, if you still wanted to cover this one. It was about like the lazy girl job.
Yes, I want to cover the lazy girl job. I want a lazy girl job.
Okay. So essentially, it's described as the lazy girl job is described as an easy, enjoyable, and unnecessarily well-paid gig that frees up most of a woman's time, so that she could just do whatever the hell she wants in her free time. So apparently, a lot of women, for a lot of women, this is like the dream job, and they want to shape up their lives and their career on like a TikTok trend. So like where you see they're just having vacations everywhere and they're not doing so much work. I'm guessing this is like jobs that relate to like Elon firing 90% of the labor in Twitter, like filler jobs that really don't make any sense. They just need to have them.
Here's my issue with this. First of all, lazy, like that was beautiful putting that in because it triggers everybody, especially in the days of the grind. But I'll say this, like everyone's like, oh, this fucking generation doesn't want to work. The 4-hour work week came out, right? So that's essentially lazy guy job. And every white guy in the country couldn't masturbate quickly enough to this fucking. Oh, I only work 4 hours. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Me too.
Rodney is a huge fan. Yeah,
me too. Me too. But I'm saying, like, if white males want to work 4 hours a week, we go, yeah, that's such a let's be pros. A chick says it, like this generation.
They're like, nah, get out.
They don't want to work, and it's terrible. Fuck off. It's just such. Listen, I know I'm quite left, but this is one of those things that are right. It's unbelievable. So
4-hour work week.
Work all day? No one wants to fucking work all day. What is this? You know what I'm saying?
I think the 4-hour work week should have been titled "The Lazy Person's Manifesto."
No, if that was called "Lazy White Men," Fox News would have been like, "They did it. White guys did it again." They invented.
Fox News would have called it. Fox News would have called it and said, "How do we sponsor it?"
Exactly. I just don't. And further, I don't know. I don't know why everyone's upset about this. So the jobs they're just saying like they want to make between 60 and 80 and, not have to work past 5 o'clock. I don't think that's a lot to ask.
That's quite reasonable. Actually, most of Western Europe works 9 to 5 and then past 5. I think that's a major difference with America is like past 5 in Europe, literally no one works anymore.
We're on the grind over here.
Yes, we have Stockholm syndrome. We fall in love with our masters. We think the grind is always show up early and stay late and don't get paid for it. We've been convinced by our masters to do their bidding for no money. And we're like, yeah, that's the way to do it. And these chicks come out and they're fucking reasonable. And they go, no, you're wrong. Shut up. Especially like we just came off the great layoffs, like 90% of fucking tech jobs just disappeared. But this is what we're supposed to be slaves to. This thing that might pay us and might not. It's just
You know what's funny now? You just made an interesting point, Eric. I just thought about that. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but you just said like 90% of the tech jobs disappeared, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny about it's not funny, but what's odd about that, right? Is that everyone's like, AI is going to take all the jobs. AI is going to take all the jobs. It seems it's taking all the tech jobs.
Right, no shit.
Do you know what I mean? Like I remember people used to be like, I even used to tell people, like, they're like, well, what should my kid do if he's going to grow up? I said, I would go into programming. I don't know, right? And it's like now, like I was just what you said. It's just like if 90% of the tech jobs disappeared, right?
Yeah.
What was everyone doing?
Well, that's the thing too. Is
you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. And a lot of the counterpoints are like, well, if you don't show up early and stay late, then you're never going to have.
It doesn't matter.
Well, they go, you're not going to have a meaningful career. Like, listen, honestly, most of us send emails for a living. Like, you sell PEO, right? Like, I sell marketing. Robin sells feet pics. Like, we don't not have meaningful careers. You know what I mean? So who gives a fuck? Like, why are we buying into this illusion? And okay, if you're a heart doctor, awesome. Like in some cases, maybe lawyers, astronauts, I suppose. Like there's like 10 meaningful careers.
Right.
We don't have any of them. So stop pretending. You know?
I always kind of viewed it like this, right? Maybe I'm a little crazy with it, but I always viewed it as I don't need to get a job. I need to figure out a way to make money.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
And once I figure out how to make money, I can do whatever I want. So
we need to start hashtagging this lazy boy something and get everybody all triggered.
Lazy boy summer.
Lazy boy.
You know what? We would get sued by Lazy Boy. It's a furniture brand. We should come out with Lazy Girl furniture.
Lazy Girl. So you can sit on your ass while you're only making 60
That's
to 80.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like I had a brilliant idea years ago. You know how they have sandals?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to come out with a discount line called flip flops.
Oh, I like that. No, that's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. You know what I like too about this is I don't want to get too deeply into the women's lib movement, but like in 1968, women were burning their bras. They wanted to get into the workforce. They wanted to get paid. Less than 60 years later, like fuck this shit. I don't want to work. Yeah, I'm sure we tried to tell you it was terrible. This is awful.
Can I be honest with you though? I got to be completely honest with you. This is what I think, right? I think everyone has discovered how horrible it is to work.
Yes, it's
everybody
horrible.
has.
You know what happened too? COVID came around, so we got a break for a couple months. And we were like, holy shit, like the veil was pulled over. And we're like, yes, working is objectively terrible. Commuting's terrible. Showing up to work is terrible. Working is terrible. It's all bad. Here's the other thing that they said in this article. They said, since the 60s, men's participation in the labor force has declined. Also, our enrollment in college has declined since the 60s, which begs the question, what the fuck are men doing? Like, if we're not working and going to college, do you know? I mean,
killing people.
Oh.
Porn.
Porn? Okay, listen.
Who was the guy from CNN, Tubin, that was on the Zoom? He was, wrestling the ball champ on the Zoom.
His arm wrestling. I love it. That was a good one.
I like that he can't make it through one Zoom call without masturbating. Like, you have to every minute of every day, you got to rub one out.
We're at like the 7th gate of hell. Oh, I think. We're on our way to it. It's just like unbelievable.
We should write a book called Common Sense to Getting Away with Stuff, and it should be like if a computer is flipped open, don't go around it with your genitalia exposed.
I would say
number 2 is if you're a serial killer, don't send letters and call the police station and the people's families you've killed.
I think a pretty solid rule for life is don't masturbate on Zoom calls. But then you go number 2, it goes, if you have to masturbate on Zoom calls, shut the camera off. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's very easy, I think.
You might want to kill the mic too.
Yeah. Like, what's he doing in there?
Like, Robin, you're okay?
Tapping.
Yeah, rustling a cat. I just
You want to see the bottom half of my camera right now?
No.
I've been doing it every show.
We're not playing that game again.
The bottom half is live streamed to OnlyFans right now. You're multitasking. That's what I like. You're not a lazy girl. You're an industrious young man.
He's got 3 different cameras on him at 3 different levels.
Yeah, because he's
doing 3 different things.
Right.
This is the
feet finder. Yeah, feet finder, OnlyFans, and us.
OnlyFans, and the Eric and Rodney Show.
That's true.
That's awesome.
Third world countries, man, you're industrious. You want to rise in the ranks, but once you reach our level, you're not going to want to work anymore. You're going to be a lazy girl or a 4-hour work week boy. So
I know.
Get ready.
I know.
All right, see, you didn't want to do this story, Robin.
No, I just thought we covered like women in the workforce like 572 times. So like,
I'll tell you this.
I didn't know.
Women love when 4 males talk about the plight of femininity. So they demand it.
Yes. They do.
They need our opinions.
They need our opinions. They crave our opinions. Okay. What's next?
Okay. So, this one's not really super interesting, but like it could have some
wings.
Health risks. Yeah. So there's this mysterious illness that could affect millions of people. Actually, the headline on this is wrong. Thanks, Fox, because it already does affect thousands of people. So it's called alpha-gal syndrome. It has nothing to do with women, by the way, but it's caused by a species of ticks called the Lone Star tick. It's like those little insects that you find on furry animals, your dogs.
Sometimes. No, we know them well. We're in the Northeast.
Yes.
Yeah.
One tried to sell me drugs yesterday. Go on.
Good. So apparently there's this one species that has like a yellow star on their back, and it's problematic because if you get past this alpha-gal molecule, apparently it gives you allergens to almost all red meat.
That's right.
So like you can't eat beef anymore. You can't eat. What other red meats you guys eat?
There's a lot.
Everything.
I don't think turkey's red meat, is it?
They said pork is red meat in the article, which I didn't know. But
pork, yes.
No, pork's the other white meat. Get it right. That was the ad campaign done by Ogilvy.
But then this article said, well, it's Fox, so who the fuck knows? But they said,
yeah. I mean, let me help you out. Fake news. Go on.
Well, I mean, it doesn't say this on the article, but I mean, I'm just suggesting maybe this was produced in a lab and it's sponsored by vegans and it's a declaration of war.
Oh my God, you're
That
such
doesn't make any sense. Let me ask you a question. I have an idea. Hold on. Has anyone ever called Fox News fake news? I may be the first. Go on.
No, yeah, you are. Well, it's categorically untrue. But I'll say this. This is how I know there's no God. Because we think you're going to get bit by an insect like a spider and you're going to wake up with powers like Spider-Man. But instead you get bit by a tick and you wake up and you're allergic to cheeseburgers. Like this planet is fucked. It's unfair.
But that's the power. So what happens is you stop in at Shake Shack, you see a crime being committed, and you projectile vomit onto the people to stop the crimes. Load up on Shake Shack, head on over to Target. I'm sure when someone's taking half the store to their charger to load it up, you can really stop them.
Interesting. I like that. You spun that right back around.
And I do want to, while we're on the topic,
I'm an idea man.
David, because I know it's so 50-50 in the bodybuilding industry. Red meat.
Where's this guy heading?
I just want to know.
Dave, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What about red meat? Is it good or bad? I think red meat got a bad rap. I think fat got a bad rap in general, and I think saturated fat. If you look at everything, I mean, I don't care if you're a creationist or an evolutionist. There's no reason for anything to exist that doesn't help propagate like life. You know what I mean? So why would you like ignore eating something? Like I get people that are conscientious objectors to animal food and they eat vegan, but I don't understand like avoiding meat in general. It's good for you. Like you need protein. Right. If you ever look at a vegan, it's like they look like warmed over shit. They're like they're really unhealthy looking people. You know?
Well, here's my theory.
Protein, they look better.
Careful, so David. We had a vegan guest the other week, and he was very on his shit about this.
I really don't care. I'll
tell you something. I have two theories on vegans. Right? This is thing. Either they're like vegans that only eat, really clean. Hear me out. And they do yoga and walk around the house on their hands, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have Dorito vegans.
Yeah.
Which are people that literally will eat a bag of Doritos and be like, "You're eating flesh." And I'm like, "You're eating stuff." I don't know if Dave knows this, that you could start a fire with. Doritos, I was an Eagle Scout. Doritos, you can start a fire with. Like if you have a flame, like they do not. Yeah, you obviously had Doritos, right? There's so much stuff on it, nothing's happening. You can literally light it, put it right in the fire, it'll start.
Can you do the same with Cool Ranch?
Yes, all of them. Here's the thing, though, right? Here's the thing. You're putting that in your body, but you're upset that I'm eating a piece of chicken. What's going on? I'm scared. You're scaring me, guys.
I was a pescatarian for 5 years, but only because factory farming is so very evil. Like, factory farming is some of the worst shit on the planet. If you can look at what happens on the inside of a slaughterhouse and not be affected, there's something fucking wrong with you. Now, I've since gone back to eating meat because I stopped caring, but it's objectively disgusting. I mean, if we would just treat them with a little bit more dignity, I think it would go a long way. I don't expect you to read them a bedtime story before you put a bullet in their head, but maybe just don't castrate them with bolt cutters without anesthesia. It seems like Nero is running all the fucking slaughterhouses in the United States.
Yeah,
I think the ethical, if you look at, there's a guy Rogan had on. Will Harris, he owns White Oaks Pastures down in, it's sustainable farming. He actually has a negative carbon footprint. So all the people that bitch that cows belching and farting are heating up the atmosphere, I'm like, you guys are insane. But however, on the other side of it, like that meat that I buy stuff from people like him, I'd rather spend $9, $10 a pound and get, it shipped than eat like stuff out of the grocery store.
Well, I think
you can't trust all that. What you to your end, Eric. The food's shit. It's garbage. It's like poison in this. You got to be selective.
Yeah, I had pork in Spain, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is what it's supposed to taste like."
It's insane. It's completely different, right? Completely different.
Oh my God,
good.
It doesn't even resemble. Yeah, it's on a different planet. It's very different.
It's better than Morsehead.
Yeah, all the shitty parts of the cow are usually exported to the Philippines. So that's why I don't
or made into hot dogs.
Yeah, you know how bad you have it. So the EU won't even import our meat because it's so fucking filthy. But you're getting the worst parts of our filthy meat. So you guys are fucked.
The best is in the United States. They ship shit over to China to process it, and then they send it back to us. Or the country of origin. We don't allow the labels anymore to tell you where it came, if it came from Mexico, or it came from, different countries. Now it's like, it's all subterfuge, man. The big ag, big pharma, big food, they fuck the whole country up. They're big medicine. They're all in cahoots together. You want my honest opinion? They just keep people sick, and then I'll give you drugs. I'll take care of your heart or whatever. Give you cats. Yeah, it's like a big business, just a revolving door.
Well, I keep saying this on the show because it keeps coming up. But the United States represents 5% of the world population. We consume 95% of the world's pharmaceuticals, and we're living longer than we ever have before because keeping us sick and medicated is very good for business.
Oh, yeah. I agree 100%.
Like Chris Rock said, we haven't cured shit. The last shit we cured was polio because the money's not in the cure, the money's in the treatment. So if they can just give us pills month after month, fucking, you're gonna wake up.
Right.
That's why we knew when the people were lacing the drugs with fentanyl. These are amateurs.
Yeah.
You need repeat business.
Yeah, why are you killing your target market? That doesn't make any sense.
Did you guys watch The Sopranos when Chris is explaining how you be a bookie? Anybody watch The Sopranos? He's like, you start out, right? The goal is to get the money every week.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the fentanyl thing makes no sense to me.
It's so stupid.
If you're gonna cut it with something that's not gonna kill me, right?
Right. I need you to come back.
Yes.
What happened to the baby laxative? Yeah. Did they used to cut cocaine with that stuff?
Cocaine's an excellent. So now I can't do any drug that's white and powdery because I'm afraid of fentanyl. So you've lost the customer here. Now I have to do psychedelics all the time, which is fine. But
here goes the middle-aged white guy's drug of preference.
Because it's one of the best drugs ever.
You know what? Rob Thomas said that. He goes, I can't do that stuff anymore. It's like, you're like, is that fentanyl or is that cocaine?
No. I don't want to die of my casual drug habit. You know what I mean? I just want to be fun at parties. I don't want to. Whatever.
I watched this episode. I don't remember if it was Family Guy, but apparently there was like this conspiracy theory that they actually found the cure to cancer, and it's just hiding in someone's basement. And the reason that they don't want to like give everyone the cure is because then you're never going to have a customer base to treat all these people with cancer.
You know,
is
Robin,
that Family Guy?
Sometimes, Robin, we on the show, I think we get in the same brainwave because I did want to say this about the tick story. This is a documentary that I watched. It's about Lyme disease. And supposedly this dude working in his basement came up with a cure for Lyme disease. And guess who was found dead in his basement? This fucking movie is out of control. Everybody should watch it.
Wait, is it a documentary or a movie? Is it real or no?
Oh, it's a documentary. But
okay. So it's real.
Yeah. So
under our skin, that looks good.
They do a deep dive into Lyme, and what they figured out is it's a corkscrew virus. And then what they found is a lot of corkscrew viruses in dementia patients' brains. So they're making a link between dementia and Lyme disease. So I don't know. You get a lot of information, but to your point, there was a cure. The guy ends up dead. Coincidence?
I'm just asking, right? Because I like to follow Rockefeller, and I understand what he used to do is when he found someone that had come up with some gangbuster ideas like that, they got on his payroll.
Yeah.
When Google finds a crazy hacker, they're like, you know what? You're hired. Get in here. Come on in.
Right. It's like,
if that was me, I would be like, you know what? We're making the drugs for it. When people get tired of the drugs, I have the cure.
Yeah. Could you make money off Lyme disease? Right. Just to sell them a pill every month and bada bing.
Here's the other thing I don't get, right? Here's the other thing I don't get. This is what has never made sense to me. If you have a cure, I'm not saying they don't. If you have a cure for cancer, like I'm just brainstorming here, right? Steve Jobs had pancreatic cancer. God bless him. He's gone. I would imagine if you had a cure for cancer and you went to Steve and were like, Steve, I have a cure for cancer. You're going to be around for the rest of your life. iPhones, iPads, what do you want?
Right, exactly. You could have gone to Steve Jobs
of Apple to Rodney.
You could have said, listen, I can, it's $500 million. You'd been like, all right, yeah, sure. Whatever you got.
Been like, bring around the checkbook, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And like, imagine these people. I'm just saying, I'm not saying they don't have a cure, but I'm just saying if they did, I mean, you really could, it's really gangbusters, right?
Well, I think it's called Borrelia burgdorferi is the virus, because I wrote a paper on a communicable disease control class back in college, and it was pretty fascinating because everybody's writing about AIDS, like everybody's on a pre-med track. I was like, oh, everybody's gonna write about AIDS. I want to find something different, right?
Yeah.
I know people that are fucked up from that. My buddy was a top MMA fighter, got Lyme, and he's toast. It's like he has to eat. He eats carnivore because it's the only way he doesn't have massive systemic inflammation. It's wild.
I think the problem with Lyme is that it's hard to pinpoint because it hits people in different places. Like the virus, it could go into your knee, it could go into your brain, it could go into your back, and then so it's hard to nail down.
Yeah. hard to treat.
In this documentary, they said like a near fatal dose of vitamin B12 or something could cure it, but then you might die. So, what are you gonna do? Everyone watch the movie, then we'll come back and do.
I take that risk.
Yeah.
Was there anything about eating Tide Pods? I'm joking.
I highly recommend it.
Ivermectin cures Lyme disease. Did you want to do Kevin Spacey real quick?
Well, we have two stories. Do you want to pick Kevin Spacey or Japanese furry man?
We'll do the furry.
Okay.
Wait, did Kevin touch someone?
Okay, real quick on Kevin Spacey. It turns out we may have canceled him incorrectly because he was found innocent when the U.S. trial, and then now in UK he walked. He didn't molest any of those 4 dudes, evidently.
Can I just say something about this?
No.
Hold on. Time out.
Okay.
Hold on. Time out. I have to say this, right? Let me tell you how to come back if you've been canceled. This is how you do it, right? There's a formula. I figured it out this weekend while I was thinking about it. You've got to really screw up here, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, case in point, right? Lost the trial. They said he's a crazy man. It's crazy man. Because if you go to the UK and you lose, they'll kill you, right? Yeah. I mean, it's like murder.
Right.
You got to pay them. It's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the UK and you win, you did nothing wrong.
True.
Wait, so
That's
I'm gonna push back on this because I don't think he's entirely innocent. So like, first they were pinning him on like that he was aggressively grabbing their privates. But during the trial, Kevin Spacey described it as more, and his defense, it was more, and I quote, it was more of a gentle stroke.
That's his move. That's his move.
Wait, so, I mean, it doesn't make you less innocent. He's still touching their penises.
But they lied. They said it was a hard stroke. He said a soft stroke. See?
Have you ever been Spacey'd on public transportation? A nice gentle stroke is nice, you know? You know what it said in the story too? It goes, he was accused of giving oral sex to an unconscious man. Now I'm a pretty light sleeper, but what do you got to do to wake this guy up? You know what I mean?
I have no comment.
I got to be honest. Kevin had some crazy weekends, my man. And wasn't he on Pedophile Isle with Epstein?
He was. And would you like to see who came on the old video screen as a character witness? Elton John. Yeah, that's right. He showed up. So listen, if you're in an English courtroom and Elton John says you're innocent, you're fucking innocent.
Yeah, that's the other piece of the formula.
Right. You got to get Elton John involved. I just feel bad. I think maybe like Robin, I know you think he's a molester. I think he's a stroker. But I think we need to get him back on Game of Cards, House of Thrones. What the fuck is it?
Card of Thrones, Game of Thrones, Game of Battles.
3 or 4 of them people die that were.
What's that?
A couple of those people died, didn't they? That were witnesses against him.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Then Spacey had the creepiest video I've ever seen where he came out. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah,
listen, I loved him as in The Usual Suspects, but
yeah.
He's a creepy dude, man.
But I think that's what he's doing now, right? He's pretending that he didn't do anything, and then he walks out of the courtroom like Kaiser Sose, and as soon as he walks by somebody, he grabs their crotch.
Yeah, he strokes him.
Fooled you.
not grab, gentle stroke.
Yeah, those gently strokes their crotch.
Sorry. Those 2 witnesses were found gently stroked to death. That's what the autopsy revealed, that they had just been gently stroked.
I love it.
Okay, we do that. All right, real quick. The dog. Here we go.
It's not really a news story. It's just so a guy spent $20K to transform himself into a border collie.
Mm-hmm. Rodney loves this story. So
it's incredible because could you imagine seeing that? I would be like, what in the fuck are they feeding that dog? Right? I mean, look how big he looks. He's bigger than her. I would be like, I hope he doesn't jump on me. My God.
It looks real.
If you saw that dog and he jumped on you, he would have his way with you, and there's nothing you could do about it. Maybe Dave could, but not us.
Yeah, no, Dave would fuck it up good, but the rest of us were susceptible to being raped by a friend.
I would be like, I'm having a border collie, baby.
It kind of looks taxidermied, though, doesn't it? It just looks like a dude climbed inside a taxidermy.
I got to be honest. Consider some of the costumes I've seen where you see a girl with cat ears and her nose is black. This is incredible.
Yeah, I much prefer those though. Like,
me too. Could you imagine going to a party and they're like, "Where in the hell's Eric? I've been here the whole time. That's a dog."
He's dry humping Kevin Spacey. Holy shit! Can't take him anywhere.
So
I much prefer when chicks turn things into slutty. Like if you're gonna be a border collie, to your point, it'd be like a tiny shirt, little skirt, it'd be hot. Guys take it too far.
Just have border collie across the top, and then the rest you could be completely naked.
Exactly. That's
the kind of costume we like. Yeah. Sounds
I wonder
right.
what's going on the undercarriage. Is it a red rocket? Is it the lipstick out?
One
Yeah, it might be.
When he gets too
Here's the
close
thing:
to
just go in the house and just start licking himself. Like Charlie's scratching again.
He's a dog. It's socially acceptable. You do whatever the fuck you want.
Think about it. A tick gets on it. They're like, "What the hell's going on here? What have I got myself into?" The fleas are like, "This isn't even a real dog."
Japan, man. Robin, are you concerned about your neighbors? They're doing some wild shit over there.
Well, I mean, I didn't even have to read the article to just figure out that this is actually a Japanese guy.
Hmm.
Wow. At first I read it, I was like, New York City is really taking a turn.
Yeah, I would have definitely thought American here, but you go Japanese.
As soon as I saw it, I said, something's going down in Florida. Then I saw the sidewalk. I said, they're in Manhattan.
Here's the
Crazy
problem. Florida man doesn't have 20 grand. So, it you know.
Yeah, usually the Florida stories are like meth and
wrestling alligators.
It was just wrestling.
All right. Let's talk about working out because we have a very large.
America demands it.
America demands our opinions on working out. Do we want? Okay, go ahead, Rodney. You have some questions.
I do, Dave. So we were talking about earlier about protein. What do you think Robin should do? Asking for a friend to get in good shape with his protein.
I think he hit the nail on that. I mean, a gram per pound of body weight. I mean, that's where everybody should start their nutrition if you're trying to be in like decent shape. Is start with the protein, then add in the carbs and some healthy fats. You know what I mean? But you got to kind of figure out how your body works. A lot of people, you'll hear people that love ketogenic diets, like Atkins type diet. I do horrible on it. I have to have carbs, but low to moderate fat and like a moderate amount of protein. So everybody's different. You get some people, like lean people, they'll burn through. You can feed. I have a friend. You can feed him 10,000 calories a day. That dude will go eat like 5 McDonald's breakfast sandwiches, 5 hash browns, 3 orange juices, and he's eating an hour and a half later, and he's just ripped all the time.
Eric, how did he get our McDonald's order?
It's internationally known.
It's everywhere. It's our diet. I have a question for you.
I don't know how people eat that shit.
I have another good question for you, and this is for Robin. What do we need to do to eat every meal to look like Brad Pitt did in Fight Club?
Yeah. Walk us through that.
This is for Raw asking for a friend, Robin. I don't know if you. Oh, here he is. I mean, everybody would.
You have to that's a level of austerity, right? Like you can't just. That's a hard commitment right there. I mean, I bet he was probably eating about 1,500 calories a day.
Oh, that's not enough.
Like just above like what a woman would need. Because Brad Pitt's not a big guy.
No,
he was in phenomenal shape, but he wasn't very. People look oddly large on screen if you're above like 230. I mean, The Rock's like an example of it, right?
Yeah.
He's a big guy. He looks like it on screen too, but it's like people want like the lean look. You're gonna look 15, 20 pounds heavier when you're on camera anyway, right? So I think
that's why I look so fucking fat on this thing every day.
Yeah, it's the the working out and the commitment to the cardio, and you probably got to be doing an hour of cardio a day, probably.
Now, hold on, time out there. What kind of cardio are you in reference to? Robin needs answers. Is this Stairmaster running? What are you talking here? Sorry, Robin.
I like. Wait. I like to say I think swimming is probably one of the best cardios out there. I love swimming, and then my second is also jump rope. But
swimming.
I like to jump rope while I'm swimming.
That's a good idea. You know what burns a lot of calories per hour is gentle groping. Have you ever tried gently groping? Stroke. I get those two very. It's confusing.
The thing about swimming though, because this is gonna sound weird, but you swim in the water is a bit colder in your body, right? So you get a migration of like the fat goes more subcutaneously to insulate your body. So like swimmers could be lean, but they don't generally look super ripped.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because there's your body's gonna always adapt to different things, right? So if you bodybuilders are just exceptionally good at getting the subcutaneous fat off. It doesn't mean that they're not having like a bunch of interstitial fat around your organs and stuff.
Why do you think that is, though? What's their secret to getting it off?
Is it?
I'm asking for Robin.
I think when you get lean, like your body functions in a different way, and then you'll see guys that do it all the time. They'll get show shape, and then they'll go on a binge like nuts. Like it's just. I call it like you get the dog in you. It's like they just can't stop eating. If you let a dog go, they'll just eat everything in sight. Same thing with people. And then they start getting fat fast because your body's like freaked out. And then you get to a tipping point where it just like lays it down. So bodybuilders, like, generally, they stay lean in the off season. They don't try to get too fat above maybe 12% body fat maximum, more like 10. And then you're down to 5 for shows, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's not a lot of window. So the longer you do that, the leaner you get. Year after year after year, your body just leans out. If you're always bouncing back and forth, I mean, it's hard to stay lean. You know what I mean? And you'll put on fat in weird spots. And I know when I was competing, it was like, you just keep getting leaner. It was easy for me to run around with like 6-pack abs without blinking, Now it's like, harder because you're not. I eat like a couple times a day. Sometimes I eat once a day. Sometimes I fast and miss the whole day. Just depends on.
Does it annoy you as a professional that we tend to, like, as a society, go from like it was like sweating to the oldies, and then curves for women, and then CrossFit, and then there's all this fucking wacky shit that comes out every couple of years. Does that annoy you that collectively, like right now, everyone's anti-cardio and pro weightlifting all of a sudden, but 5 years ago, everyone's like cardio, cardio, cardio. Does it annoy you?
That is true.
Like collectively decide what's good, and then you have to go like, listen, look at my arms. Obviously, I'm right.
Well, I think that it just depends on what you're trying to do, right? And what I look at is like, okay, this is going to be like fashion. Like sooner or later, we're going to see bell bottoms again.
Yeah.
But I've seen everything in this industry. Like, back in the day, they had unstable surface training, standing on BOSUs and, like the physio balls and doing all these different things. But it's like, it always comes back to simple, basic stuff. It's like, but the smart people don't, like if you're buying a wardrobe, right, you're not going to go out and buy the latest trendy shit. Right. Because you're going to be getting new trendy shit next year because that's going to go away. So you stick to the basic staple things, and that's what works. Yeah. You get people that try to reinvent the wheel so that they can market themselves all over Instagram. And I know if you see them in social media influencers, I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake. How long have you been training? Like 6 months, and now you're out doing diets? It's like, you're an idiot. Like,
it's like crazy because like, so handstand push-ups, for example, like you have to be upside down, and like, so you're doing like deadlifts for time. Like, in what world are you supposed to do like heavy deadlifts for speed? That seems like it's a bad idea.
Let me give you an example, Eric. Let's say that your wife and kid has been kidnapped, and the killer says, "I want to see how many deadlifts you can do in 5 minutes," and he has a number in his head of 50, and you're thinking 40.
That's true. I guess
that might happen. I'm
going to have to get a new wife and kids.
You got to do pull-ups for time. Who's timing me?
Exactly. Somebody called it scoliosis for time. That's exactly what it is. How quickly can you get scoliosis?
How quickly can you get to the emergency room?
It just seems so stupid. Like for years it was form and do it slow and make sure you're right. And they're like, fuck that. Do 85. You got 30 seconds.
Well, I think that like CrossFit, like where it goes wrong, like I like the idea of it, but I think where CrossFit's bad is you said the time component, because now you're just, if you watch some of those like chin-ups they do, they call them
kipping.
Butterflies, kipping butterflies.
It looks like some form of a seizure hanging off of a bar. Right. It's like, it's not a chin-up. You're not really working the muscle. You're just, so to me, I'd rather see people do 10 strict chin-ups. Like, I'm not saying slow. You can still do them with a speed, but do everything the right way, and then you won't be injured. But when you see ever since CrossFit came around, you saw a shit ton of like orthopedic injuries. If you ask orthopedic surgeons or PTs, they're like, yeah, we love these guys.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. In my old CrossFit box, across the street was I forget the name of it, but it was a PT, and everyone was over there. Well, one thing I'll say about CrossFit is I used to do it quite religiously, is that and again, right, people will argue this with me, but doing a kipping and a butterfly pull-up is not the same as doing a real pull-up.
No.
It's not.
No,
It's
of course.
completely like when you're doing this, it's your shoulders. When you're doing a real pull up, for me, it's everything's working. You know what I mean? Like you gotta really go, right? So I agree with you. Like I think it's more beneficial to say if you can do 10 pull-ups or chin ups or whatever, right? To do those and to try to do 30. You know, it's not the same thing. It's not.
Well, as you age, I mean, I know my shoulders, they're fucked up from all the lifting, the heavy stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think for decades, I probably didn't go in the gym and bench at least, you know, an upper set like 405 plus pounds on every single workout, squatting like 600 plus pounds every single workout. Mm-hmm. At some point, the shit breaks down, right? Your machinery, the bones, the structure, the joints, and it's like, you can only do so much there. Like now, if you see me train, it's like I go to the gym and I'm like, thank God nobody knows me in here that well. I go to a kind of a commercial gym, like, so nobody's going, oh, dude, what happened to you?
Like, so you used to be bigger than you are right now?
Oh yeah, like I mean, my off season I was about 270 pounds. I'm about 220 now.
Jeez.
Can I ask you this though? Is it a bell curve? Here's the thing. You'd think as a guy, right? If you get hot enough, your sex life is going to improve, but it's going to be a bell curve, right? Like, then you get abs and you're jacked, you're having the most sex you can get. But if you add another 100 pounds of muscle, it's not like you're getting laid more, right? So there's like a peak.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not eating pineapple, it better be because I'm getting a lot of sex. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that's the case.
No, I remember I was like 195 pounds and I was like ripped and just looked good. And I remember like women that were dating all these meatheads were like, don't ever change, Dave. Your body's perfect. It's beautiful. It's like that. I go, but you're dating a meathead. So I got it in my head that I got to get bigger because I'm not going to be able to get these chicks unless I get bigger. Then I get bigger and then they're like, you're too big. I'm like,
I know.
I relate to that. I was a stupid teenager when I was 18. I was dating this girl who was like, Robin, you're too small. So she broke up with me. I was a stupid teenager. I did a cycle of testosterone. And then, yes, the sex drive relating to that. I didn't have more sex, but my sex drive was through the roof. So I became a chronic masturbator.
So all of a sudden you're whacking it on Zoom calls and it's a zero-sum game.
And now you're cured.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say
he found the way
because now I have minor gyno and hormonal issues, but I learned.
Wait, what's going on here?
We have gyno what problems?
What's going on?
I have minor gyno issues and hormonal problems. So,
well, you can talk to someone about it.
No, of course I've seen my doctor and everything.
You can probably get surgery done pretty reasonably over there.
But it's tiny. It's like barely noticeable. So
just like a nodule. Like, do you feel it? Like a gland?
You fucked yourself up with one cycle? What kind of batshit crazy steroids do they have in the Philippines? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was. I think it was 250 milligrams of test a week.
I mean, Robin, don't you know?
I don't know if that's
it's eat clim and trend trend hard.
Oh, that's actually like when I was competing, I would hear guys talk about stuff, and I'm just like, you guys are insane, man. Like if you have to take that much shit to be able to compete in this, you got to find something else to do with yourself because you're not cut out for it, right? Genetically. So the guys will be taking like literally these pros 4,000 and 5,000 milligrams a week.
Jesus,
that seems like a lot.
Yeah. Well,
that's why they're all dying.
I had a friend of mine one time who was into bodybuilding and not at your level, but he was probably more like Robin and people I know, and I had to do a CrossFit workout one time, and he was like, "Yo, let me give you something to help you out," and it wasn't steroids. He gave me a clenbuterol.
Oh, jeez.
And I felt like I had a third lung.
Nice.
They go, Rob, we never seen you run this fast. I said, I got to be honest with you. After that bottle, I went to New York City Marathon. They wanted to see me coming. No. I don't know what that drug does for people, but it's a miracle drug. I can do things I didn't even think I could do. Let me tell you something. At my height of my CrossFit career, right, I could do 50 burpees in a row. I was in the contest that day. I did 100. They couldn't even believe I had finished. I couldn't believe I had finished. I said, Miss Cal, what's happened?
Performance.
And then I took off for a run.
Nice job.
Well, a lot of Tour de France winners have been caught taking clenbuterol.
How is that illegal?
Yeah. It's a beta agonist, so It's a bronchodilator. It's sold over the counter in Europe. Probably you can probably get it in the Philippines too.
It's
America,
incredible.
I have it.
They use it to fatten up cows in Mexico. So like it's a nutrient partitioning agent with the cows. Remember when Canelo Alvarez failed the blood like the doping test?
Yeah.
And they found trace amounts, but they've had 15-year-old soccer players in Mexico get popped for clenbuterol in their systems because it's like they use it with the animals. Because they don't give a shit what they do to the animals down there. They grow them, try to get them as big as they can, put more pounds on them, and then sell them. You know, it's all about money. So
clenbuterol is the best drug I've ever had for breathing. I never seen like it.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
How do I get it? Who do I have to lie to?
It's not hard to get.
But what is it for? I don't even know what it's for. Is it for CrossFit? What's it designed for?
It's for asthma.
Yeah, it's a
asthma.
bronchodilator. I think it's actually it was created to treat horses that have asthma, and then it's not even created for human consumption, but
really? I thought it was for humans
bodybuilders
because
and
I'm telling
athletes
you,
to use it.
I'm telling you, Eric, I could have won a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
how do you
miracle.
spell that?
Clenbuterol.
Okay,
I don't know how to spell it.
CLENBUTER.
We just need to know a pharmacist, and we'll tell them make us a batch real quick. 30 minutes. What do you got?
Well, to Robin's comment, they used to get it from the racetrack right here in Detroit, and they had it's called Ventapulmin, and you push almost like a shampoo bottle, it squirts it onto the feed for the cows or for the horses, and I'm looking at this thing going, this comes in microgram doses. I go, dude, nobody knows how much you just put in your body. You could kill yourself if you take too much of it, right? So they're taking the liquid these guys just don't give a shit. They're just like, I'm going to be big and ripped at all costs. I'm like.
Speaking of the downside of getting big and ripped, we were talking about Jay Cutler off the air. And I think it was him. I read this article. Sometimes I guess your lats get so big you can't wipe your ass. That seems is that a thing that you guys discuss in the general bodybuilding?
It can be pretty uncomfortable.
So
you get a cramp because you're trying to you know what I mean? It's
because I would imagine if they get too big, there's going to be one day where you're like, holy shit, I can't wipe my ass.
You're not going to be a front to back wiper. Yeah. Wow. I look at Ronnie Coleman when he was really big, and I was like, I don't know how he wipes his own ass. I'm like,
that guy's huge.
My bachelor party was in Vegas, and he was on my flight. That guy has abs on his knees. Every part of him is ripped, but he's very tiny.
Wasn't he a highway patrolman or something? Imagine him coming up to the door. I'd be like, whatever you need. You know what? Just take the car. I'm going to get out. You take it. I don't even need it anymore.
Speaking of heartbreaking documentaries, have you seen his? The guy has he can't walk. He's had back surgery, but the day after back surgery, he goes and squats. That's probably why he had back surgery. Yeah, he's all fucked up.
Right. But I mean, if you've seen Ronnie Coleman now, it's quite sad.
So Dave, you'll appreciate this. So I was talking with my friends. This was years ago, and he was talking about Jay Cutler, right? And I didn't know there was two Jay Cutlers. I thought he was talking about the guy that used to be the quarterback for the Bears. Yeah. So he's like, you have no idea how jacked this. I said, really? And I'm just sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, I finally said, right? There's absolutely no way in the world I'm in better shape than Jay Cutler.
Right. Speaking of Jay Cutler,
real Jay Cutler.
Have you ever seen this tweet that said Jay Cutler passes physical is officially a Dolphin? It said if football doesn't exist, there would be a way cooler tweet. That's like that dog.
Yeah. But I remember thinking that. I'm thinking if these guys, I really did that. I'm thinking if they think Jay Cutler, the quarterback, is jacked, I got to take my shirt off. These guys are going to lose their minds when they see how shape I'm in.
Jay Cutler, the football player, doesn't have a chin and he smokes cigarettes.
That's what I mean. I was like, he's like a C cup. Where do they see me? They're going to be like, this guy. I was going to be like, what's guys? Get a taste. Get a taste.
When they see Rodney on clenbuterol, what the fuck is it called?
I was like, I hope Ronnie Coleman's not looking for me. If this is Jay Cutler, they need me.
That's awesome.
Well, I wanted to get into, we only have a minute left. I wanted to get into Dave telling us how to get in shape and what we should eat and how we should work out. So we're going to have to come back because, or you're going to have to be a guest again.
Oh,
please
this
do.
Is entertaining to me. I was like, this will be fun. You know?
Yeah, I want to get
great.
I want to get arms as big as you. What do I have to do? Real quick.
Just do it consistently. A couple days a week. Just train arms a couple days a week.
Couple days a week.
It's really not rocket science. It's just constant, consistent application. People people fuck it up trying to like figure out how to like reinvent the wheel again and try the gimmicky stuff. Just lift progressively heavier weights. It's like
it's
nothing exciting about it. It's not sexy. It's pretty boring.
What do you curl? Like, what do you curl? Like dumbbell curl?
Now I don't do like super heavy anymore, but
back in your day, real quick, how much did you curl?
Well, my workout would be on the straight bar. I'd start with a 25 on the, so it's 95, 10 reps. Second set would be another 25, 10 reps. Third set would be another 25, 10 reps. So 195 for 10. That would be like 6 cheat curls with like 245.
You curl to something for reps?
Yeah. But then I grow better when I stopped training so heavy. I'm down to use like 45, 50-pound dumbbells and just really concentrated. So,
wow.
That's
good. Right, well, we did the hour. We were just kicked off of LinkedIn Live, but I think it goes longer on other things. But anyway, we should wrap it up. Dave, thank you. You've been a tremendous guest.
Dave, you've been amazing, brother. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, no, I appreciate it.
America. Bye. Everyone can say, hold on. Say bye. Oh.